So Jalen Hurts continues to deal with a knee injury after the Eagles win over the Dolphins on Sunday night, and Nick Sirianni gave a huge update on the injury ahead of the Birds matchup with the Commanders, and what he said was a little concerning. Also, Jalen Hurts himself spoke on the injury as well as what has been the cause of the Eagles turning the ball over so much this season, and he also detailed how they can fix that major problem. Plus, Kevin Byard is settling in as an Eagle, and it seems like he's set to make a huge impact both on the field individually, but also in a more underrated way that not many people are talking about. And this Cowboys star shockingly called the Eagles the best team in the NFL. So we're going to talk about all that and more huge news in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So of course, the big star in the Eagles win over the Dolphins was none other than A.J. Brown, as he recently just won NFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance, so huge congrats to him. AJ's just been on an absolute different level this season, and it's definitely well deserved. But the real story of that game was how well the Birds defense played, as they were able to shut down what was a historic Dolphins offense coming into the game, as they held them to just 10 points, and they were able to do it by imposing their will and using their physicality. And that starts up front with the Birds' dominant defensive line and pass rush, with guys like Josh Sweat leading the charge, as he had a fantastic game, and really Sweaty J has quietly had a fantastic season overall, putting up 19 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 5.5 sacks, and 14 quarterback hits through 7 games, which put his numbers on par or even better than some of the game's premier edge rushers like Nick Bosa and Micah Parsons. So as Josh Sweat Truther on Twitter puts it, conversations will need to be had very soon because Josh Sweat deserves his respect. I mean, that's definitely very true, and so does fellow edge rusher Haason Reddick, who after a slow start to the season has exploded onto the scene, with him also having 5.5 sacks and him affecting the game in a number of ways, specifically on Sunday, setting the tone early to shut down the Dolphins' run game with a few TFLs. And really, the dynamic duo of Sweat and Reddick have been feasting over these past 3 games, as they've combined for 30 pressures, 17 hurries, 13 quarterback hits, and 7.5 sacks in those contests. So, safe to say they've been an unstoppable duo over these past few weeks, and a huge reason for the success the Eagles defense is having. But Sean Desai also deserves a tremendous amount of credit for the unit's success, and he also deserves a ton of credit for his game plan that helped slow down Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, and the Dolphins' explosive offense, even with the banged up secondary. And Sidney Brown seems to agree that Desai was crucial in helping to do that.
I think Sean Desai had a great game plan going in, and then our coaches all bought into it. If you kind of look at what Buffalo did and we did, it was very similar game plans. And so we just kind of played a looser coverage and just played vision break. But I thought we had a dominant game plan coming out.
I do think it's really important that we give Sean Desai his credit. I mean, without him, this defense isn't nearly as good as it has been this season, as it currently sits as the number 5 pass defense and number 1 run defense in the NFL, despite all the injuries that they've had to deal with. I mean, without Desai, I don't know if you see some of these young guys come in like Sidney Brown and Eli Ricks and have success like they've had. I mean, all I'm saying is replace Desai with that guy who's coaching down in Arizona now, and I doubt the Eagles win this last game. But even after the Eagles had a dominant defensive performance against that scary offense, Howie Roseman didn't feel fully satisfied with where the team was at with safeties, which is when he swung the trade to land the Eagles' multiple-time All-Pro Kevin Byard, which has the potential to be a game-changing trade for multiple reasons. As obviously, we know how much Byard is going to be able to help on the field. The guy is an elite player who's been consistent throughout his entire career with the Titans. He has yet to miss a game in his career, knock on wood, and he also has 27 interceptions in 7.5 seasons. And something else that's great about Byard is his versatility and his ability to play all over the field, and Eagles defensive coordinator Sean Desai spoke about that in his weekly press conference.
You have experience playing in a couple of different spots in defense here, deep in the box and the slot. I guess how much does that versatility, how much of a resource is it for you?
Yeah, I think you've seen it really with our defense over these first 7 weeks, is we value that. We teach that way, we train it, and that's kind of how our system has been installed. And so he'll fit right into that. And then as we grow with him in this defense, do what we feel like he's best at and what he feels he's best at.
So like Desai said, obviously the Birds value versatility on the back end at safety, and Byard clearly brings that. Just this year, he's played all over the field, taking 171 of his snaps at free safety, 129 snaps in the box, and 87 at slot cornerback. So clearly, Byard can be used in a variety of different ways, and that's really useful for a defense for multiple reasons. One being that you can use it to cater to the strengths of other guys, like for example, Blankenship, who really has been used all over the field as well, and has been good both back in coverage and up in the box and stopping the run. But if if you know Blankenship, he definitely shines more closer to the line of scrimmage playing the run, which is great because Byard has been amazing in coverage throughout his career, as not only of course is he a ball hawk snagging the second most interceptions in the NFL since 2017, but his coverage grades over the past few years have been amazing, as he's averaged out with a coverage grade of 92.3 since 2020, which is the highest among NFL safeties in that span. So it really seems like the safety duo of Byard and Blankenship is going to be elite. They complement each other very well, and with Reed back as a full participant in practice this week after missing last week's game, it seems like we'll get to see the duo of Byard and Blankenship very, very soon. But that leads me to my next point, being that there's a very underrated benefit to Byard joining the Eagles that could really help them for the foreseeable future, and that simply is the leadership element that Byard is going to bring to this team. I mean, when he was with the Titans, he was a tremendous leader, and now obviously he has to come get acclimated to a new team, a new system, and it's just not going to happen right away. He's not going to be able to come in and assert himself as a leader immediately. That's something that has to be earned, but I definitely do see as the season progresses, him stepping into more of a leadership role as time goes on, and specifically for the young guys, and even more specifically the young safeties that the Eagles have, having a multiple-time All-Pro and Pro Bowler and leader like Byard is going to be very beneficial. I mean, for someone like Reed Blankenship, who has a lot of potential and already looks like a potential young star, having an established star like Byard in the locker room to learn from day in and day out is only going to help the process of him reaching his potential, and it only helps that the two seem to have a relationship, which Byard revealed in his first press conference on Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play with Reed in college, but obviously I kept up with him his whole career, and we actually trained together this offseason in Nashville. He lives in Nashville during the offseason. I live there as well, so we trained. We were really cool friends, so excited to be joining the secondary with him.
What do you make of his game?
I think he's a really great young player. I think he's a really instinctual player, physical player, really smart. So I'm going to lean on him a little bit too, obviously trying to learn the playbook and everything, so kind of get my feet wet.
So it's definitely cool to hear that Byard and Blankenship already have a relationship, and I'm sure the chemistry that they may already have from just hanging out together and working out together should help them out on the field. And then moving on, for a guy like Sidney Brown, whose playing time is going to take a hit because of Byard's arrival, this is still a great opportunity for him to learn from an established star at his position as well, and he understands that.
We just talked to Kevin Byard, and it seems like he has just a true veteran presence about him. Do you have questions planned, or is it just something that's going to feel like it's going to develop naturally?
Yeah, I think you can just learn from observation, absolutely. Especially with a guy like that coming into the room, there's nothing but good things that can come from that, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited that he's in the room. I'm excited the leadership that he's going to bring to the team.
I really do give this move an absolute A+ for Howie Roseman. Not only do you get an elite player to help now, but you also get help for the future by having a guy like this in the locker room for your possible young stars in the making at that position to learn from. And I really do find that to be an underrated aspect of this move. But what do you guys think? How much will Byard's presence help the development of Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, in addition to the excitement surrounding Byard heading into Week 8, there's also one huge looming question regarding the injury status of the most important Philadelphia Eagle ahead of the game, and head coach Nick Sirianni recently gave a big update on the situation, and what he said was a little bit concerning. But real quick, before we get to that, I just ask you one favor. If you are enjoying this video and have found any of the information useful or entertaining, make sure you go down, subscribe to the channel right now, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any videos just like this come out in the future. I really think that that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with that being said, let's get back into the video. So on Wednesday morning, Nick Sirianni was asked to give an update on the injury status of Jalen Hurts, as the Eagles QB came out in the second half versus the Dolphins with a knee brace on, and Sirianni's response, at least to some, was a little bit worrying.
We're confident that he'll be ready to go, but it's, anytime anytime these guys are working through pain and things like that, I mean, they gotta, we anticipate them to go, but that doesn't mean it's easy, right? And so, again, we'll see, as we're not going to be out in the field running around today. So I still need a little bit more time but I think he's feeling better. But I'll let you guys ask him that. So we're hopeful that he'll be no limitations on Sunday.
So that's interesting to say the least. Sirianni did say he expects Hurts to go, but he didn't sound super confident, and also indicated that Hurts would be playing through pain if he does play, and these things aren't easy. I mean, he kind of had the typical, well, we'll see response to any injury question that the media gives him, and of course when talking about Jalen Hurts, the literal franchise quarterback, this is no doubt going to worry some people. And then Jalen Hurts himself wouldn't really commit to whether he was feeling good or not either.
Nick just sat here and said he's optimistic to be able to play Sunday. Where are you at with the knee?
We're just taking it day by day.
taking it day by day. You know, it's just something that we're dealing with day by day, taking it one day at a time.
Now, I will say, despite these two giving the most vague answers possible, I really don't think we should be concerned, at least in the short term. I mean, all reports coming out this week suggest that Jalen should be fine and completely ready to go for the Commanders game, and then the Eagles' official Wednesday injury report didn't have Hurts listed at all. So I really think here what's happening is Sirianni and Hurts are just playing games and trying to hold a competitive advantage rather than actually being worried about Hurts' injury as of now. I would just be concerned about the possibility of the injury getting worse and becoming a long-term thing throughout the season. I mean, the Eagles really can't afford that, obviously, so hopefully there's a very little chance of that happening. And overall, let's just hope that Jalen Hurts is able to get back to being fully healthy as soon as possible. And let's also hope that Jalen gets back to playing turnover-free football like he did last year. I mean, obviously in 2022, Hurts was extremely good at taking care of the football, only having 6 interceptions all year and just 8 total turnovers. However, this year it's been a different story, with Jalen already having 8 picks through 7 games and 10 total turnovers. And overall, the turnovers by the offense in general have been one of the main things really holding them back this year. I mean, the yardage numbers are largely similar to last year's, it's just that the turnover numbers are far worse this year, and that's preventing the offense from being at that level that they were in 2022. So on Wednesday, Jalen Hurts was asked about the turnovers and what's caused them and what they have to do to correct them moving forward, and this is what he said.
I think there are some, obviously, adjustments and changes that you go through, and I think that I've pointed that out throughout the duration of the games we've played this far. You know, I think there've been some miscommunication, some you know, crazy turnovers that have kind of happened. But those are all things that I control, you know, and some things it seems like you can't. A tip ball, or you know, the ball goes to a 3-tech off of a drop or something like that. But you try and really control the things you can control, and I think that's just how I'm navigating through it. Obviously, you look at, you know, the level of production. In correlation, everybody wants to compare to last year, right? We're statistically better, besides turning the ball over. And so we just have to play clean in that area, and I have to do a better job of that and to continue to trend forward with that. You know, I think the reality is we've yet to play our best ball.
So like Jalen said, he's just got to control the things that he can control, and they really just have to clean those things up moving forward. It's really as simple as that. And at the end of the day, I do believe this offense is just too talented not to figure it out. I mean, like Jalen said, they're better statistically for the most part offensively this year besides turnovers, so again, they just got to clean that up. And if they combine turning the ball over less with their number 2 pass offense and number 3 rush offense plus their elite defense, that would be a scary reality for all the other teams in the league. Especially since the Birds may currently be the NFL's best team, and they still have issues that they have to clean up. I mean, they're tied for the NFL's best record at 6-1. They got the number 1 seed in the NFC currently, and they even have the biggest star of their arch rival Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons, calling them the best team in the NFL.
Number 1 will have to be the Philadelphia Eagles. No one has stopped the tush push yet. Javonte Smith could be A.J. Brown's number 1 receiver. Jason Kelce, Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson will be a Hall of Famer. They're very special. Their DB core, Darius Slay, crazy talent. James Bradbury, and I know you saw the trade. They just got Kevin Byard. Very special to see. Obviously, I know I was high on Jalen Carter before he even got the Philly. I don't know how he fell to them. Without a doubt, very special group. It's very special to see what they've done. And they still have Reddick. They still have Sweat. I don't believe they have any weaknesses on their team.
I mean, this is actually crazy. You at least got to give this guy his credit. He was speaking facts at the end of the day, but Micah was just saying that stuff with no hesitation, let alone about the team he's supposed to hate the most. So, I mean, if I heard an Eagles player saying all that great stuff about Dallas, I don't think I'd be too happy as a fan, and this is only going to feed into that narrative that Micah, who is a PA native, wants to be in Philly. He wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle, and he's currently not doing anything to help his case and debunk these rumors. He's just adding fuel to the fire. So hey, let me know what you guys think. You fully bought into the rumor that Micah Parsons wants to eventually be a Philadelphia Eagle? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But hey, again, let's give Micah credit for telling the truth. The Eagles currently are the best team in football, and they're going to look to keep it that way after this week, in which they will face the Commanders. So if you don't want to miss any videos I got coming this week leading into that game, make sure you go down again, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Join the nation of Philly fans we got on this channel. We are on the road to 25K. We're so close. So again, if you did enjoy this video and want to see others like it, make sure you go down and subscribe right now. Also, drop a like on this video to help show some support and push it out to other people, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another video going over the Kevin Byard trade and also recapping the Eagles win over the Dolphins, you can go check this out right here. Now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys, so thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.